Hey guys, it's Sal here, Sal D Police. I got these stupid CVS glasses. I can't believe they charged me 20, I think 24.99 for that. And then I was in the dollar store like last night because I needed garbage bags and envelopes, and I was eating at the diner next door to it, and then those were $1.25, and the glasses, these ghetto glasses, I just paid 20 something dollars for $1.25. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna go back there tonight, tomorrow, maybe, whatever, this weekend at some point, and buy a bunch, because I keep losing them, breaking them, and I can't. And my eyes are so bad. You know, my mother is officially blind. She's 85. She lost her sight. A little older than me, but you know, who knows what's going on. So I basically made a video. I wanted to update you on how I'm doing on. I wanted to see how I would react. You know, and I want to first put this in context because I think people took it out of context as a lie, okay? I once said, I don't know much about YouTube and MobTube and the etiquette because I've been in a psych ward the last 17 months, okay? Now, that I will say the wording on that and my reasoning on that was a little deceiving. I was in and out of rehabs and psych wards for 17 months, okay? And I had no TV. I gave up TV. I could not find a show I liked. Literally, Netflix, any show I wanted to watch was foreign show. I can't, I've read every book. I've watched every movie. So MobTube was my shit. So I noticed it, like, 28 days later, I'd come out and people that were best friends were then enemies, and you came after my family and this and that, and then I'd go away for 14 days and it would be like, yo, this one, and it would be World War III with people that were just best friends, and then I'd go away for another 30 days and it would be like, so that's what I meant. So I didn't know certain things that happened, like, I never knew, for example, I'll just, I'm not bringing in this up to make them have a fight or anything, but, it took me a while, because then when you want to ask about certain things, it's a touchy subject, and no one wants to get caught talking shit about it in the chat, and, because I came back and Gunsmoke and FBS weren't friends, and I had just, before I left to a psych ward, I had just got done inviting Gunsmoke on Instagram, and I still have the Instagrams. I could post them right now if you want. During one of our fights, I offered to post them, but I just decided that was gay. But, and I will say, I didn't even know what the word doxing meant until like 6 months into this, I still might not have the clearest picture of what it means, to be honest. But, I was so proud of the research they did in exposing MRE because started exposing him and got blocked from him for a different reason, because that's how I noticed there was something fishy about him being a mob rat exposed person, because I kept bringing up Junior Gotti and he kept beating around the bush with that name. And something felt weird about it, like, that's the one guy you were going to give a pass to and say nobody went to jail or something. Like, it was just too weird for me. So but again, what am I going to do? Go to waste my time researching MobTube people? Like, I don't give a fuck. But, like, I got goosebumps when FBS and I think Jimmy Calandra was involved and Gunsmoke banged out MRE's reputation with the paperwork and the receipts. Who knows? Common Sense might have something to do with it. Researching too, because he's smart. I didn't know Howie well back then, but I saw him on FBS once, and then 30 days later, I watched him fucking bug the fuck out. I remember being like, shit, I ain't fucking with this guy Howie. He was yelling at FBS and accusing him of saying what state he lived in, and all this shit. And so what I did, instead of asking people, and people seem to lie on this place and go with their own narrative, I've noticed. And, like one person I asked what happened between like FBS and Gunsmoke, for example, and I hear, Gunsmoke's a piece of shit, he didn't warn him he was going to get beat up, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll ask somebody else, and they're like, yo, FBS will just turn on anyone in 2 seconds, and he's a piece of shit, and he's so paranoid because everyone backstabs him because he's a fucking fake-ass fucking bullshit motherfucker, so, I started really not just looking at the shows I was in, but in this last month when I had therapists, I've been watching MobTube with my therapist, believe it or not, Francesca, a 40, maybe a 55-year-old woman, and she's great. She saved my life. She saves my life on a daily basis. She's basically like Howie and Common's angel, like Howie and Common saved my life with that phone call and Mustache Pete, and then like it's almost like Francesca took over like just in time because I was starting to get bored again and starting to watch, so many times I admit some people it's too much for. I know how to read a room when I'm sober and I'm normal and I'm taking my meds. I'm actually a very normal person. And I've been trying to prove that. Like just that like, I'm just like in my world, like I just come from a world where I'm just trying to kick it, we laugh, we used to have fun and laugh, and I love like just laughing, and fucking people think I can't handle breaking balls. That's all me and my friends ever did my whole life was bust balls. Like, and that's what I find humorous, and I think maybe that's why I loved MobTube at first. But when people, so I saw a few things that I wanted to like put myself in a different context and see if you guys who are still mad at me, because I know for a fact, first of all, Gunsmoke, I went in your chat, in your back room a couple nights ago in your chat, and I was not mad at all. I was laughing. I did it as a joke. I did not expect you to let me on in a million years, not because of, like, I think maybe because, I do think you don't forgive me, like, you 3 strikes you're out. I do truly believe you hate me, and, and I'm not mad at you for it. I deserve that. But I think you would also want, like, Howie and Common's input just out of respect, not because you're a kiss ass to them or anything, because that's what somebody said to me once recently when I said what I'm about to say. And if you would have had me on, it could have gone wrong, but you could have just shut me out and blocked me. But, you don't want even that stress. I get it, and neither did I. And I wanted to just show you, give me 10 minutes to prove that I'm normal and meet the real me. Meet the real me, people, because I'm about to tell you about the real me. So there are certain shows that I watched that I had forgotten about that existed. There are certain shows I watched about me that I never knew existed. And it sucks that these people said those things, because I don't want to like restart being mad. I would never start drama. I'm done with caring like verbally against them on here, but I would hate to not like them in the back of my head and not go in the chat anymore, or if they, so it's like I watched me say things about Howie and Common, who, if you remember, that's why I got on the panel and got on any show, is because I wanted to meet them. They were on Gunsmoke show, and somehow they dropped the panel for me, and I said, guys, I just wanted to meet you because Common, I've loved you since watching you back 4 years ago on different shows. When I always like respected your perspective. I understood you and where you came from and your arguments when you disagreed with people and pointed things out. So I wanted to meet him, and Howie, I always thought like he probably has the sickest story, like, you know what I mean, like, and I never had anything against rats or people who ever cooperated in the last 5 years. I was cooperated against, and that person's wife just died. I went to her funeral, and he knocked on my door with his father the day after I got home and made bail, to say, my son's not a rat, and like I forgave him the next morning. That's how crazy that like to watch me say things like why you're wearing fuck, and I did it because someone provoked me. They told me that's the one thing that would get him mad, and then I said something that I didn't even know I said, and I know where it came from. It came from Tony Sofolo's mouth, because I had to go back and see where I even got this disgustingness that I said to Common, and I was like, oh my God. And every time I watch it, and Francesca, my therapist, I'll bring her on here one day. She said she would come on. She just would have an avatar on because she's a professional, and she's a high-ranking, she's a supervisor, but she takes a few cases of, one-on-one therapy too, but it's part of a group, a dual diagnosis group that deals with, they have a psychiatrist and, addiction experts. And so it's special training, to be dual diagnosis. It's like higher than just like a CASAC, or I don't even know what CASAC means. I just always hear that term every time I've been in a bullpen in jail waiting for bail or arraignment. So just to put in context, that's the real me. That's not me. When I saw myself saying those things about those two people, and this is before they happened to save my life, okay, and call me after that, and I said, how could they have called me and been nice to me after I said that? I was being so disrespectful to them, and yeah, okay, it was because they said they didn't like me anymore and they stopped trusting me, and fine, but does that give me a right to say those things? Do you have to like me? Like, am I God? Like, if you don't like FBS, I watch his show, I like it, I say it all the time, I give him props. He has me blocked. What can I do? Do I have to beg him to put me not blocked or like me? If he doesn't like me anymore, he doesn't like me anymore. I can't, and it's okay. Like, this is a side life to me anyway. Like, and I'm that's what I'm trying to explain. Like, I just felt bad, like, when people seem to be hurt and triggered by things I said. And then so let me get to the point. There was a few things said to me when I said those things. Anytime I catch a show where it's me saying those things to Howie and Common, I'm done. My stomach starts getting bad, and I physically have to run to the bathroom, and I have diarrhea. That's what my mental health and my anxiety does to me. Like, how if you're nervous about something, waiting outside of a courtroom, knowing you're about to see a judge and get slammed. For some people, it's, waiting on a job interview. But, I mean, some people have what's called a nervous stomach. I swear to God, I cannot finish watching those shows where I say those things to them too, particularly. Is it because they ended up showing me gratitude and still to this day look out for me, not letting people, I mean, they're not going to sit there and go after everybody that talks shit about me in a chat, but they're not going to, let me get abused on a panel, or unless I do something disrespectful, or what I mean. So they're still looking out for me, but this is as if they're not looking out for me. I'm saying this. Looking at that was like, who was that guy? That's not Russell or Sal or whoever. You know what I mean? That's not him. That's like, if I showed it to my friend Jesse, the guy that works at that restaurant across from 666. I showed it to him last night, actually. And there's someone on here that I speak to personally, and he knows I went to see this guy last night. And he asked me, he's like, "Do you still do that YouTube shit, bro? Because you seem a lot better since you stopped." And I'm like, I watch it and I vent a little and tell him about my recovery. And I got these two real deal dudes that, kind of look out for me. And, if I try to, get excited and get back involved, they tell me to, take a little more time and, chill. And, they pull me up and keep me in check. And so I'm all right. And, but I have posted videos. I haven't really talked about anyone. I stayed out of that Stoflo drama and all that. So that's the thing. I see things like that, and then I see shows where people are talking about me for like 8 days, 9 days in a row, and I didn't even know about it. You know what I mean? I had actually disabled my YouTube and thought that meant my YouTube can go away. You have no idea how hard it is to get your YouTube your channel to actually not be your channel. Even my channel right now is not a new channel. It's the old Sal's channel, just renamed, and I had to delete one by one everything that's old. Like, that's how crazy the YouTube has the world on lock on computers. So I was just so then I saw the people talk shit about me, and again, I said I deserve this. And then I even watched a show where I went on and apologized to people, took accountability to people, completely understand why after 3 strikes certain people couldn't forgive me. And I'm talking about in the chat and content creators. But I want to point out there was one show, it's called Brooklyn BK vs. Sal Part 2 or something. And it says, we all see the real you now. You go after family members, and you're a hothead who isn't, this nice guy. You're a piece of shit, blah, 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 because... and you can't come back from it. And I sat there and agreed with him and said, you're right, I'm a piece of shit, and blah, 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 and I tried to, whatever. And then I said, and so there are 2 things I want to just give my perspective, and that nobody knows behind the scenes what happened about this. So that happened on that show, that conversation. And someone else, that Gunsmoke was really going in on me that day. He's like, nobody in this chat likes you, blah, blah, blah. And because I said, like, bro, like, thank God at least I made good friends in the chat, and they check in with me, and everyone's like, you're full of shit. And so BK Shineland goes, name him. And I said, and then you'll see the screen freezes on me, right? And then a few of the people, laid low that I spoke to, and I saw a few of them actually stepped up and were like, yo, I fuck with Sal. And they're like, oh, that's so disappointing. And then it stopped being frozen, and I was like, yo, that I would never dry snitch on anyone. So, there's nothing you could do if you don't want to believe me. So I felt bad that those 2 or 3 people that admitted it, it was too late now. Just so you know, I would never tell anyone, that you talk to me, especially while I'm going through beefs. So, and BK's sitting there going, you wouldn't be able to hold it in, blah, blah, blah. And then sure enough, nobody gave me credit, not once. Like everyone was just so against me. And that's what kept going against my mental health. I was like, yo, these people were all cool with me for a month. And this guy BK comes on, starts abusing me because I got a name wrong between Baller and Real Deal or whatever. And by the way, shout out to BK, because he always looks out for me in the chats too. I mean, I see him make some fucking little jabs at me here and there, but that's all fun and games, like, he'll make some pipe jokes and all that shit. But at the end of the day, when I'm in the chat, he looks out. He says hello back to me, and he'll also make sure I'm not taking things personally, and kind of looks out for me like Howie and Common. So I am not bringing this up to have beef with him again. I'm just pointing out that nobody sees like my point of view on that. So I wasn't a dry snitch, and I was absolutely able to have the discipline, even in this thing, not to, rat out that I was good enough for some people in the chat, very popular people, to stay in touch with me during this, because they kind of recognized the real me, that something was off. You know what I mean? And I think that's why Howie and Common called me that day, and that God made them see, because those two are very good judges of character, and I think they were like, yo, I don't think Sal is like what we think he is. Like, he might be a piece of shit, and they might still hate me. I mean, who knows? But I felt realness from them when they called me, and even if that doesn't mean they forgave me enough to not want me to go down a path of, where I would follow my brother, or, where I would do something like that. They didn't hate me enough to want to see me dead, at least. You know what I mean? And like I said, I can't get through those shows. And I also have trouble getting through the BK and then Gunsmoke shows where they go off on me, and even some other people go off on me that I didn't know went off on me, and I don't even know if they were going off on me, the other people, but someone called, I think Lefty called me a grifter, and people think I lied about trying to get him a job. I could still get him a job. I won't be there because I needed to handle myself and shit, but I'll get into that one day too. And he knows damn well there's a hotel if he wanted to live in Long Island for some reason, that, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. But, so I had the discipline not to dox, I guess you could say, the people that stay in touch with me and checked in with me before Howie and Common saved my life, right? Then there's Gunsmoke. I took it very personally, just that I thought we had this bond and we were cool. I was on the show every night, and never once, not one time, okay, will you ever see on any of his shows, and I told Francesca this, and I'm not complaining about him, Gunsmoke, I love you. I would be on your show tonight and having the best time with you if you let me. But I want to just point out that when you watch your show from day to day in succession, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, and of course me and Francesca fast forwarded parts that had nothing to do with me and stuff, but forget the even BK thing. That Gunsmoke as a host of a show could have squashed that for me so quickly and just been like, BK, he didn't mean that. He's been fucking with us for a month, man. We're all good. He didn't mean to any disrespect or whatever. I had too much pride and ego, which I let go of now, to do that. I wish I did that day. Instead, I became a tough guy again. I'm telling you guys, I'm not a tough guy, and you all won, because I'm a miserable, and, there's some good things in my life, man. I have 2 fucking adoring children, and my family life is beautiful, whether it's my sisters, nieces, parents. I'm very fortunate, more than any typical drug addict or a criminal, and so it's not a pity party either. I'm just trying to show, the second thing was the red-headed ginger guy. I'm watching him right now live on Gunsmoke Show, and he's bringing up people, and, I wanted to stay on in that room to see if he was going to bring me up, because he clearly hated me bad. But he kept saying, I can't prove I own a pizza place because no one will vouch for it. So luckily, I was fortunate enough to have, because I could bring any friend on and vouch for it, you know what I mean? I could bring the camera to the pizza place like I offered to do to Terrace Avenue 20,000 times and was told no. People said I lied about the Terrace Avenue thing being an open air with cops drug market. I offered 20 times to get right in my car that second, and Gunsmoke said, no, I'm monetized. So, you know, I don't do it for my show because I have no one watching my show. I have 4 people when I go live. So why would I do it for my show? You know, I wouldn't put myself at the risk of relapse for that, for the amount of views I get or the amount of people watching live. So I was fortunate to say a name that everybody in MobTube knows that comes to my pizza place and is got to know me, and by the way, you know, he might not have seen my lease and stuff, and you know, because he never would question, do you really own this place? But he knows I didn't charge him for a food ever, and he knows I'm bossing everyone around, and you know, there's no way to walk into my pizza place and not know that I'm the boss. And I'm not trying to act up. I'm just saying, you said find someone to vouch for you that you own a pizza place and we'll believe you. I told you who it was in 2 seconds, and if I called him, he would have. He doesn't like getting on MobTube and getting involved and shit, but for me, as a favor, he would have got on and told you about my pizza place. Instead, the red-headed ginger dude is like, see, man, you're such a piece of shit, bro. Your friend, you should be private with all these people. Blah, blah. So which way do I win? Like, I literally was in a no-win situation in that debate, you know, because now you're telling me I'm an asshole for saying that guy's name, and, you know, but he's the one you just said I needed to prove to you I own the pizza place. He's the one that can do it. And now I'm an asshole because I said he's the one that can do it. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought that was unfair, and nobody tried to follow up with that person and see the truth about that. And you know, I kind of, you know, I'm going through this with Francesca because I'm about to start step 4. That's why I'm rewatching these tapes. It's not to bring up brownie points to you people and slowly try to get you guys to stop hating me. Last night when I was in Gunsmoke's chat, this 2 nights in a row, this guy Scott H keeps saying, oh, that fucking weirdo Sal's back and blah, blah, blah. So he hates me. Like, what? Like, if you care enough, if I'm renting enough space in your head for you to even hate me, like, that's the whole point of this, is that MobTube is, like, should be nothing for any of you people unless you're making a living off it. But it should just be something you do for fun and entertainment and have fun with it. But, like, what could I have possibly have done to you that made you not like me, or you know what I mean? And the last thing I'm going to defend myself about is when I apologized 1,000 trillion million times to everybody. People I didn't even know I had to apologize to, about people were saying I go after people's families and shit, right? So yes, I fucking was disgusting. I just told you I can't even watch my fight with Common and the things I said about pissing on someone's grave or something. I forget what it was and who I said it about, but I said I'll crack Gunsmoke's mother in the head or something. I said things about go fuck your mother, but that was like schoolyard bullshit, right? When I looked at what went on while I was in the psych wards and people went after people's family, they were like researching where wives worked and making like fake AI pornos, and like, to me that's going after someone's family. I was just doing some like baby fucking schoolyard bullshit that I knew, I recognized and took accountability that it was like some baby bullshit, and I apologized to everyone a million times. But like, a lot of people never could get past that when they heard, you know, I'm a go after family guy. And I don't think I qualify as that. I have never never even thought, and no offense, cared enough to research anybody's family, mother, daughter, sister. And first of all, I'm an open book. I gave you all my address, my phone number, and my Instagram, which has nothing but pictures of my family on it. I don't do anything else on my Instagram but put pictures of my daughter, son, sisters, mother, father, a couple friends. I literally, that's it. So I'm not hiding anything anyway, but so I guess it never even came to my mind to do something as crazy as that. I do think that's disgusting, but I feel like people thought that was me when they hear that what's he apologizing for? Oh, because he went after families. Like, now they think I go after families in the same sense, like, Tony Soflo goes after families. Like, guys, that's not me. I'm too much of a nice guy that even the thought never would even have crossed my mind to tell you where someone's work, you know what I mean, and all that. Okay, you know what I mean. And yes, my final breakdown where no one, I couldn't come back from, was the death thing where I was hallucinating. I was in a psychosis. I was not sleeping. I was bugging out. I was so out of reality that I explained it to Francesca like this today, because she said you're not explaining it right, because she watched videos where I tried to explain it. So I came up with a good way to explain it. Okay, this is how nuts I was, and when I say Howie and Common saved my life, this is why I'm telling you Howie and Common saved my fucking life. I thought towards the end, like the night that they had that show about me being dead, I thought you were all celebrating my death because you hate me, not because you were mad because I lied about it or anything like that. I truly took it as like everybody hates me that much. I'm such a nice guy. I do nothing but try to help people in my life, and I couldn't believe it. Like, so it turned into that. But those like few days that I was going through this, I was telling people that when I was awake, it wasn't real life. Now, when I say I don't sleep for 4 weeks, it doesn't mean I don't, I'll be sitting watching TV. There are times where, like, I'll just, like, jump off of everything and do nothing, and my life slows down for a second, and my wife takes my son to soccer and to give me a break, and I shut my phone off, and all of a sudden I doze off for like 3 hours, 4 hours. I'm not going to say that didn't happen a few times, right? So I started saying this isn't real life. I'm on a commercial break when I'm awake, because these people think I'm the devil and are like celebrating with candles my death. Like, if they really think I'm that bad of a guy, like, this isn't real life. This is a commercial break. And when I go to bed, I have dreams that used to be bad. I used to have dreams only about my dead friends I lost and all this shit. And, I would say this, I've said this to my family members and my wife. I said, at the time I said this, I said, my dreams are real life because they were continuous. In other words, if I was dreaming about my first love that I was with for 8 years, my high school sweetheart that was murdered brutally by her husband in Astoria, Queens, when she married my friend, my supposed friend that backstabbed me and stole her from me, then I went back into my dreams and she was there again the next time I dreamt and shit. or another friend that I didn't get to make amends with before he died. I kept running into him in like 4 dreams in a row, and we were all good. And I'm just like, yo, that's how crazy and Francesca looked at me and said, you know, that's why there's more of a diagnosis here than, Howie and Common must have been smart enough too to see when they saved my life with the phone call, and Mustache Pete too. I got to give it to him too. I keep forgetting him. You know, there was some deep rooted. Yes, I have PTSD. Yes, I have survivor's guilt or survivor's remorse, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I have clinical depression. Yes, I have severe anxiety disorder. Yes, I've had strokes, heart attacks. Yes, I have a pacemaker and a defibrillator, I'm sorry. And yes, I'm a raging drug addict in reality, and I always will be, I'll always be in recovery. But I also might cross the line now of, they didn't want to scare me with these big crazy words like schizoaffective. Not schizophrenic, but schizoaffective. That's a scary word to hear about yourself. Even after I just told you all these crazy stories that I've been through, and all the shit I just told you just now, even, and what I just told you about my sleep, thinking I was in a dream, and blah, blah, blah. Even after that, when someone really grabs your knee and pulls you in and says, listen, it's no different than having the flu. It can be treated with medication, but there's no cure for it. Not the flu, cancer, they compared it to. I was just trying to listen. I have Gunsmoke Show on in the other room. And that's the last thing I'm going to talk about. So, Common and Howie and Mustache Pete, again, thank you for saving my life. And I hope I haven't caused anything in the chats that anybody doesn't like. Please tell me if I am. I hope I didn't say anything that offended anyone in these shows. I was not justifying anything. I was just telling you the reality of my day and how I sat with a therapist. And yeah, maybe she was justifying things for me to help me get out of a depression, but we all know I take accountability for it. I can't even watch some of them where the ones where I'm acting like a dick and saying those things about people and their families and those ones, I admit to you that I immediately get diarrhea, however gross that is. That's the 5th time I've used the word diarrhea. Diarrhea. My stomach starts turning just right now thinking about it. I have to leave the show, because I'm just so ashamed of that, my behavior. So this show is not about, I hope people watch this show to the end if they watch it at all. I don't get many views, but this show is not about justifying my behavior. It was just pointing out little things that, not everybody knows everything, and not everybody looks at everything. It's a popularity contest. If Common and Howie got on their show tonight and said, yo, Sal's back, he's ready to come back on, blah, 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 I would be welcomed with open arms, right? If they came on the show tonight, and let's say they mistook this video as like an insult, which I swear I'm not insulting them, but if somebody tells them, this has happened to me a lot, nobody would take the time to watch my video, but somebody would tell somebody what I did in my video, and they would be mad at me. And they took it completely out of context. So if these people are watching my video till the end, what I'm saying is, if, let's say, they're mad at me about something, they're the most popular people in the circle the team that I'm on, at least. I'm on that side, fuck Angel, fuck this one, fuck that one. if FBS, fuck you even, as much as I love you, you block me for no reason and don't like me and tell me, call me a lost cause. I don't care about you then either. Like, I'm not on here begging for friends. I just want to point out it's such high school that all of you will start attacking me again if they decide they don't like me anymore. So if, let's say I get a fight, let's say I took Gunsmoke's not letting me on seriously, like old school style, last night, and I said, all right, fuck you, Gunsmoke, I'm going to sleep. Instead, I said, good night, I love you, man, but, whatever. If that happened, and then, everybody who, likes him is going to have my back, and then, his back, and then Common and Howie are going to have his back, and then everybody is going to hate me again and start fucking, coming after me full speed ahead again. Like this, it will happen. And that's it. And there are some people on here, even in the chat, not just content creators, that, first of all, are awesome people and stayed loyal to me to this day, are checking in with me, and I love you guys and appreciate it, and girls. But there are some other people in here that think they're normal and right about everything, and they should really open their minds a little and look at themselves. Because, and I'm not talking about anyone I've had beef with in the past, or anyone, that you would even think or notice. You know what I mean? But, nobody's perfect, and nobody knows everything. And I sure as hell know I'm not perfect. Last thing I'll say is this, and this is straight to Gunsmoke's face, because basically I'm sober, my head is clear, I know how to read a room, I enjoy his chat so much that I don't care about him not letting me on the show and that, but you can tell he is so, like, scarred by my behavior or something that he couldn't even have fun with me joking and going backstage. Like, he's like, you're the one that wants to tell everyone you went backstage, you're not ready yet. I was telling you while I was backstage, I was trying to show you that I don't want to come on, I just want to as a joke, because all the chat was telling me to go on stage and pick up the link, and, literally, like DL and Danny Green and Brian G, they were all telling me to pick up the link. And so I did it as a joke to help the show. The whole time you were complaining that you had nobody on your show and this, I was trying to help you, man, which is all I've ever tried to do, first of all, is have your back and help you, besides our fights, you've never once had my back, and I'm a big boy, I don't need you to, that's fine. But it's very obvious by you, like, you skip every comment I make to the point that I thought I was blocked like FBS, and maybe after this you will block me if you take it wrong. I have no beef with you in the world, and I like you, and I like your show, and I think you're a talented person. I've always said that. I respect you. I respect the loyalty you have towards certain people, at least. Not to me, but to certain people. And I respect it that you can't forgive me. I broke the 3 strikes you're out rule. Like, you just are done with me. Like, and I get it. I respect it. I think out of your loyalty to Common Sense, Mustache Pete, and Howie, you're not telling everybody how much you hate me or, whatever. But I feel it through the TV screen. It's so obvious to somebody like me that reads a room and plays chess and just, there are people I can't answer if they like me or not, and there are people that I say, oh, they like me, like, but you don't like me, you know what I mean, and I just want you to know there's nothing but love for it. I hope one day you're ready and are willing to see the real me, that you've never met Russell Miller. or Saldi Police. Like, you've met the guy that was on drugs and a mess and having some laughs with you on the show, and then it turned into a headache for you, and then, like I said, if I can forgive the guy that set me up and got me a B felony, by the next morning, I just feel like this being YouTube and we'll never see each other in real life type of thing, like, I was hoping you would forgive me, and I just want you to know I have no hard feelings. Like, I don't deserve your forgiveness, and like me and Francesca talked about that, because she said to me, he seems to be renting a lot of space in your head. Why is it so important that this guy likes you? And I said, that's the thing. Maybe I'm a people pleaser too as part of my addiction, but specifically with him, I remember the good times. I was taught recently how to do that, not only because remembering my past is a big part of my PSD and my survivor's remorse and my anxiety even, and that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to twist it around, and so I watched some shows that I was on with him in the audience, and I was cracking up, and nobody seems to remember the good times. Some people do, but he doesn't. He just, I went too far with him, and I will stay out of his chat out of respect for him, not because I'm trying to be a wise guy and make a video about him and start a beef. Even if he tonight is like, oh, Sal's just looking for attention and made that video. This is not about me looking for attention, man. Like, I just wanted to vent and go over my therapy with you guys and tell you where I'm at and point out a few things that might let people in the future, like, just open their mind, especially to the people that think they're always right about everything. Again, shout out to Howie, Common, and Mustache Pete, and Gunsmoke. I love all of you. I thank you again. I would not be here. It's been confirmed with my psychiatrist and therapist. I was officially that day having suicidal ideation. And you saved my life, and every day I'm grateful, and I get a little bit more humility, and I let the ego, it's basically humility and humility and great gratitude. They're in my head fighting ego and pride, and I have to let the humility and the gratitude win, and the only way I could do that is by getting this shit off my chest. Like, I just don't want, I don't want Gunsmoke to think like I was like really trying to give him a hard time by going backstage. I was really just joking, and it was after your reaction that I realized I'm not really being paranoid, that I just told you how I feel. I'm not going to repeat it again, but because then I would be looking for attention, but I get it, and, I wish you nothing but the best, man, and seriously, and thank you to everyone who stays loyal to me, sends shout-outs to me. I would never name you guys, but, anyone that sticks with me, just even to, not against anyone else, but just even to help me and talk about shit and come on my show or ask me questions or tell me I look better or, whatever, tell me I look sober or tell me I sound better. One person wrote, keep getting up, kid, keep getting up, like, you know what I mean, like, and, like, I feel like I'm Rocky when people give me compliments that people I barely know, like, I wish I could name them because they're surprising to me because I was never that close to them in the chat, some of them. But listen, thank you all. I'm way over my time limit. I love you. Have a good night. Have a good weekend, everyone. Have a safe weekend. Don't drink and drive. The snow is fucked up. I am not going to waste your time with some stories I have right now, but I'm sitting like this for a reason. All right, so shout out. Thank you very much. Shout out to everyone. And that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.